live.
Let's see
We're
what
live.
happens. Have we got some
We're
music?
live. No.
I've pressed
We're
it.
live.
We're live. We're live. I don't. Hello. So.
There you go.
Hello. Welcome to the Simply Together show. We are having technical issues here today, and that might be because I've been left to my own devices. That's never a good move. So I haven't been outside, but whatever is going on out there is going on in here. It's hot.
It's lovely. It's lovely.
It is
right
lovely.
Next to the window. The air is coming in. It's warm. I have no scarf on. I've got some skin out. What more could a girl want?
Some ice cream, maybe. I don't know. Some strawberries and cream, or something to snack on. I don't know. It's just perfect. Not a glass of sangria, or
no.
Pim, something like that. You're perfect. Okay.
Once the sun is out, I don't need anything else.
So we are. How are you doing? Other than perfect, has it been a good week for you?
Well, the weekend was really good. I went to Cardiff with my auntie, so that was all right. That was good. I intend to go back again.
Okay. Have you never been there?
No. Well, I'd been once for a wedding, but I just went to the wedding and came back. I didn't say anything. So yeah, and I realised that Cardiff was a really good concert place. So I bet you've been loads of times.
No, never. Far too close to London. Yeah, because whatever's going on in Cardiff, I can see in London. So why would I go all that way?
Because it's a nice place.
However, now my brother lives up that end, I most probably will go there. Where maybe, but Liverpool is closer to him than Cardiff. So if we go to any gigs, we'll most probably go to Liverpool. All right, I'll find one and go to Cardiff. I will find one.
Jokes. Oh, that's really funny. That is really funny. I did not expect that response at all.
Which one? About never been?
Yeah, because when I was standing there in the castle and I was looking at all the concerts there, and I just realised, I've seen that before when they do those concerts in Cardiff. So I just assumed that you'd have been to some there.
No.
Okay, well, it's all good. A friend of mine from work is going up. It's going to see the Stereophonics. Yeah.
So what was you doing in Cardiff?
I went with my auntie. She wanted to go. So she'd been to most places in the UK, but she hadn't been to Cardiff. So we went. Yeah, so it was nice. We went on Thursday, we went on the coach. And it was good.
I haven't been on a coach in I don't know how long. It's a long time since I've been on a coach.
I did look at the train, and it was quite pricey. And then I looked on the coach, and I couldn't unsee the difference.
Did you go to London to then get the coach?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And even with that.
Yeah. As you said, you can't unsee the difference.
No.
Once you see that, it's then there in your head.
Yep, exactly.
So that makes it even more of a trip then. You've gone on the coach, got your little snacks, gone off to Cardiff. Exciting.
No, it was good. It was good, to be fair. We went, the first day was kind of innocuous, but that was more to do with my auntie than me. She wanted to do certain things. So we did that. And then the next day we went to the castle. We didn't really go in because it wasn't really suitable for my auntie and her mobility, but we hung around there for a bit. Then we went to this place. We had green tea, which was absolutely amazing. We had this tea. It was called caramel black tea. It was so good. And I went up to the counter, all bold, thinking that they sold it. No, they don't sell it. So, but it did give me some to take away. So I was really chuffed with that.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we did that. That was really good. Yeah.
Amazon. Go to Amazon. They'll have it because they have everything.
Everything, exactly.
Yes. Good. So
what about you?
Worked
Apart
all
from
weekend.
Internet problems. Oh,
other than internet problems. Yeah, worked all weekend, Saturday and Sunday and Friday. So that was the whole weekend done. However, I have got another 60th birthday thing happening this Saturday. I am going with one of my besties to see Billy Ocean.
Oh,
love a bit of Billy Ocean.
Queen.
Yeah. Love a bit of Billy Ocean. So we're going to Birmingham to see him. So that's quite exciting.
Yeah, is that the NEC?
No, it's something else, some other place that I've never heard of or been to.
Okay.
So so we're going there. So that would be really good. So we are not going to stay. It's famous last words, though, isn't it? We always say we're going to finish on time, and I don't think we've finished on time since we stopped finishing on time about 3 years ago. So we're not going to be hanging around for too long, but we are going to have a conversation around the BBC, Glastonbury.
Well, that's a good starting point, actually, to be honest.
Yeah. And we're not actually, I'd speak for myself because I know you will have deep dived into this already. I am not all seeing or knowledgeable about these things. I have to be honest and say I have never heard of Bob Dylan. I actually thought it was somebody saying Bob Dylan, and my hearing is not the best. So I actually thought they were talking about Bob Dylan, who we know over the years has been very vocal with his politics and things like that. So I actually thought they were talking about him until I then saw a video and thought, oh, okay, that's not him then, is it?
Now it's very interesting that you say that because I've literally gone on to Google here and typed in Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
And I didn't even finish typing it, and it wanted to bring up the other Dylan guy. I've forgotten his name already.
Does it? Bob Dylan. So well, he's all across the news everywhere, isn't he?
Yes, but Google should not be telling me what I'm typing. I think I know.
And that's why I said just a moment ago about Nike and her deep diving, because she is going to tell Google to don't tell me what I am trying to Google. Whereas the rest of us are just going to go, well, that's not what I actually wanted, but she is going to tell Google about itself. And are you of the mindset that there's a possibility that Google is actually listening to you in some shape or form?
All the time, but I was using a different device, but that's just quite interesting because the reason why I typed in Bob Dylan was, number one, I actually thought he was dead, but he isn't. He's
he's not.
Old. He's not 84 years old, yeah. And so that was quite curious. But anyhow, yes. Look, I actually haven't. My issue with the BBC is this is just an example. You don't even for me. You don't even need to do a deep dive, because if I was watching Glastonbury, which I wasn't, because obviously I was traipsing about Cardiff, I would not have been watching these bands, or maybe if I'd seen something on social media, I would have turned it over. But I think what's the saying? Is it like you cut off your nose and then you end up spiting your face or something like that? Because that's how I see it. So apparently,
say that again.
Don't cut off your nose to spite your face.
Don't cut your nose off to spite your face. Yeah.
So my understanding is they had another band who I'm not really sure where they were from that were going to play, but they have always been very vocal, very pro Palestine, and very anti-Israel. Go figure. And so BBC decided that they weren't going to show them. They decided to show this guy instead.
Okay.
And this guy just went the whole 9 yards. Because obviously, and I saw it because I'm looking at it. I'm looking on TikTok. I'm like, what's this? What? Why? What? And then it was that bad. It was even on Instagram. You know, Instagram was usually quite mild, but it was even on Instagram. And then I caught sight of some paper headlines. But I'm thinking to myself that I know things were slightly different when I was growing up, but in my head, youthful people have always protested about things going on in the world.
Yeah.
And I personally, and all this stuff that's been going on now has really made me look at the BBC in a completely different light for many reasons. And because growing up, BBC was the hallmark.
Yeah.
It was the hallmark. You know, if you wanted to know what was going on, you looked at the BBC. There was a standard. I mean, I have friends who weren't even allowed to watch ITV or anything like that. It had to be BBC.
Yeah.
Which I thought, well, I still think
I'm just thinking
strange.
that myself. Yeah.
But now it just feels, to me, I just feel like they're just a mouthpiece for the right wing. That is what it feels like to me. And I sometimes feel that they're trying to get back, but they keep getting pulled back because of the way things have gone. But I just don't understand their need for censorship, because Glastonbury, how I understand it, the nature of that type of concert, you would expect that type of controversy there. It is normal.
Okay, that's not necessarily how I would have envisaged it, but maybe yes, maybe a bit.
But I could be wrong. Like I said, I've not really been a great fan of. I'm not a great festival person, but I have kind of looked at it over the years. But I was actually more thinking about the BBC, the way they just tend to, rather than just reporting what has happened, it's coming across as very opinionated. Whereas I do not believe that news channels. So it's not only the BBC, it's just that I have always loved the BBC. I think, you know, they do really good dramas. They do have a good education section, etc. But I don't understand why all of a sudden their reporting of world events has just become, rather than reporting it.
So are you talking in the sense of the not just the Glastonbury, but what they report
not just the Glastonbury.
On a daily basis?
It's what they report, is how they report on a daily basis. There are loads of things that and I kind of got wind of this. So I can't remember where I was. I was abroad, and I came across the BBC World Service, and I thought, oh my God, it was absolutely, but the stuff they were covering, you know, you'd come in, and I just thought, well, why aren't we seeing this at home?
But have you not do it? Okay. So I've been Paris and Barcelona in the last couple of months, and I've watched the BBC World News because I don't speak the language, so I'm not watching anything else, and you can't find anything else anyway. So, and there is so much more on there. Can we not get that on our?
But why should we have to?
But haven't we already got that though?
I don't see it. Look, I stopped watching it quite a while ago, but every now and again something will come up and I want to watch it. And it's just, I just feel that they're giving a lot to backlash. You know, there are a lot of there was that interview they showed with Harry, which fair dues to them showing it, but then because there was so much backlash, you can't find it on iPlayer.
No, because they do remove things, don't they? They do take things off.
And so it's just stuff like that. I just always believe that news channels in particular should be neutral. They should be reporting what is going on. They should not be slanted. It should be, this is what happened. But I just always feel it is slanted. I feel that they have a way of treating people that is really weird. There's just all sorts of things that have come up about the BBC for me that just makes me not want to pay my TV license anymore. I'm just mad with them. Honestly, it's like all this stuff that they did with Nadia Hussein. Although I have to look into that a bit more deeply, to be fair. But I don't think a whole Nadia Hussein is going to come out and say what she said if it was not true, because she's not going to put herself up against the might of the BBC.
Exactly. So, but some of her bits have been around people telling her, which may have been people who work for the BBC or whoever, telling her about being grateful for.
Yeah, so that's the slant of which she has come out with. And if people are saying that to you, then it makes you think. You know, whereas before you're just there, you're happy, you're baking, you're sharing your life, you're telling your story, and then people are coming to, and then you question something. Oh, well, no, you should be grateful for being here. Excuse me?
Yeah. And not saying that, because obviously we do a lot of work in all the things that we do, all the platforms that we have around, you know, gratitude and last week when I said about the afternoon tea and my family and friends sharing the love, and you were saying to me about gratitude, and you know, so we get that. So don't anybody come now starting to have a go about we're not grateful for things, because we are. That's not what we're saying. Because there will be somebody who's watching, I'm sure.
Yeah, but there is a difference.
Say, what? So you're not grateful then?
Yeah,
we are grateful. No. That's not what we're talking about. What Nadia is saying is that she has been told that part of work that she has been doing, and now she's no longer going to be doing that on the BBC. She needs to be grateful that she had that. Really? They've given
she was sidelined. Yeah, exactly. She was sidelined, and that's the thing. It's you know, it's almost like they want to say that, well, they were doing her a favor.
Yes, exactly.
Without considering the fact that she had talent. Well, let me rephrase that. She has talent. You know, she can bake and she can cook and she can do all of those things, all the while imparting a story. Because when you think about it, not everybody can do those things.
Oh, God, no. God, no.
You know?
And you have to go on and chew one bake-off, and that is a stress in itself, you know. That is not just you just go into the tent and you bake a cake. That's not how that works, you know. So actually she has talent, and she's shown that she has talent. I think I've got 2 of her books. You know, so do you need to be grateful? No, because actually she has worked her butt off to show that she can do what it is she was there to do. Let's backtrack then before we carry on with the BBC as such. So this whole Bob Villain stuff, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody who's watching. Have we not seen many pop stars, musicians, whoever, shouting the cause of something over the years? I'm pretty sure we have. And I'm pretty sure that at the minute, oh God, what's her name? From Annie Lennox is championing the cause as well. So if she had said that on stage, if she has said that on stage, would she have got the backlash that he's now got?
Yeah, she would.
Do you think so?
Yes. I think it's slightly different, and the reason why I say that is because that's what I said. I think the reason why I picked up the BBC because it's the stalwart, it's the big one, but it's happening across. It's the same way they sidelined that woman from LBC just because she challenged that guy from Israel. I can't. Oh, what's her name again? Myra something. One day she was there, and then all of a sudden she was not there. Why? And there's been no. Maybe some people will say they're not obliged to give us an explanation, but it's really strange. If you're logging onto a program every week and then all of a sudden somebody's not there.
And if you don't give us an explanation, then we'll make up one for ourselves.
Exactly.
Which is never good.
It's the thing. It's the upside down reporting. It's the way people. There will be, regardless of whether of my personal thought. In my head, it is logical that there will be a lot of people that are going to come out and at the very least are going to question. At the very, very least are going to question. And they always try to get their questions pushed down. They never give any background stories, background information. I was just saying to my friend the other day, it's really weird how something becomes implanted right in the middle of your consciousness, because I remember when this conflict was going on before, it was almost like it would flare up and then all of a sudden it would die down.
Yeah.
And, and even then, and even before social media, everybody had a different take. And I remember people trying to explain it to me. And I'm thinking, yeah, but that doesn't make sense. It doesn't say, it just never ever sat right. But now with the explosion of, all the information that's come out of when it happened, and I actually found out more information when I was working in a bookshop. I saw a book about Israel, and it said then, I think that was in 1988, so it was literally 40 years old. I'm like, oh, really? What's this about? And I'm like, oh, okay. But, you at that stage, I just took it on face value. I just thought, oh.
Yeah.
And, but it's the way, they want to kind of clear a lot of the background stuff of how it has come to be, how it is happening now, and then all the support that is coming in the different directions. That's what I'm struggling with. It's not the fact, it's bad enough that it's happening, but then when you have people who should be neutral, who should just be telling you, A did this, B did that, C did that, D did that.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah.
They just want to squash.
But is anybody neutral? Is anybody neutral anymore? And I don't know. I don't know.
But I'm not neutral, but I'm not the BBC. I do not have a platform across the whole of the UK.
We've got 1 million viewers. We have got. Do you not know we reach as far as Africa, United States,
all right,
Barbados.
It's that thing. I know. As I was saying that, I thought I'm looking actually on the internet now. It's kind of different, but I think I've actually sat here and openly said I'm not neutral. So anybody who's listening to it knows that I'm not neutral. But the BBC, in its stature, as far as I'm concerned, should be neutral.
So do you think then? I mean, obviously, in the moment when he was up there saying whatever he was saying, should they have cut the video feed?
No.
When they played it back, should they have not played it? It was okay. It's right for them to play that.
I think it should, because that's what he said, and he's the one who would need to be held accountable for it. I think by them, and that's what I said. To be fair, they tried to prevent it, and then they got something worse. But I'm just speculating on that bit in the sense that the kneecap might not have been that bad, but it's just annoying. Oh, so what? You plan to film them, you were not going to film them. So what? And it still segues back. It still segues back to what we're saying about Nadia Hussein, because if you think about it, they were going to show kneecap, and then they decided not to show him. So they put on there something that they thought was second best. So what? So he should be grateful and not say anything.
No, because he's now thinking, he's not going on there thinking I'm grateful. He's going on there thinking, yep, there we go. Now I've got a platform. I'm going to do my stuff, say what I'm going to say, and hey ho. And why shouldn't he? So because he was there as a backup. He was there as a backup. If he wasn't a backup, he wouldn't have been there. So he was there in case, and that one didn't come on. He then did.
Yeah.
And then he then said what he said.
It's a tough call. When you go back to, when you think about it, you go back to the days of Live Aid, for example. And Bob Geldof, remember he swore?
Yes. Yes.
And they made that such a big deal.
And has been now, ever since.
I know, which is quite funny, because when you think about it, like what was happening there, they were quite happy to accept that was a humanitarian crisis, even though it was one that was caused by nature, and obviously some people who have grown up since then actually do not see Live Aid as a good thing. I can understand their point, but by the same token, in relation to what we're talking about the BBC, I can also see why people in the UK would react the way they did. But that's okay, because you have decided that is good enough, it's worthy, and you can do it. But where, the awareness needs to be made of things that are going on in the world that does not suit your narrative, you choose not to show it. There have been loads of protests going on across Africa recently. Well, I've not seen any people of it, even on the BBC website. Every now and again, I go and have a little nosy just to keep my fingers in there. So it's not that I'm going by 10 years old feelings. And it's just that thing. And when you look at, and I think it all goes back, I think it all leads back to money, like most things do. But I'm just disappointed. That's it. And it's one of those things, which is why I'm probably rambling, which is usually what happens when I'm disappointed with something. I wouldn't be on the debate society, because I'd get very emotive and I'd fall over my words. And then we're like, hey, what's wrong with you? We were relying on you. And I'm like, I got to involve.
Yeah, but that's fine. That's fine, because you're not on a debating show. You're on here, and you can ramble and you can fall over your words, because we can see that actually you feel quite passionate about it, and that's the whole point. On a debate, you can't be. There's no passion coming into it, because you've got to say it how you need to say it so you can win. So okay, are we then caught in a, I don't know what words I need to use. So you'd said about not the BBC and your TV license, right? Are we now caught in this whole situation where we can't not have a TV license, we can't not pay for the BBC because of all these other channels that we like to watch and everything else?
That's all being challenged, isn't it? There's a lot of challenges, and there have been some precedents. And now one of the things, and I haven't gone to check into it, because I generally tend to buy my license. It's on standing order. It comes out every quarter. But even the powers that we thought they had, apparently they didn't actually really have them. Which kind of shows you the shift in society, if you think about it. It's like, that's gone back to the day, you wait till your father gets home. It's that kind of thing. But now people are like, well, no, I don't watch. And there are lots of people who do not watch television. They watch YouTube, they watch Netflix, they watch Prime. And all of those things. I mean, to be fair, I watch Match of the Day. So, it's on BBC. But... although I won't be watching anymore because Gary Lineker's gone. And that's another one. There you go, reminder. That's a reminder. That is another example, because he said what he said. So therefore he's no longer able to to report on football. The two things do not correlate. Gary Lineker said what he said. He didn't say the BBC said it.
But again, that's the power that they do have, is they can then just remove you for whatever reason.
I mean, they do it with many innocuous things that are probably not so important. So, for example, before I generally busted the TV, I always loved The Voice. And I used to watch it when it was on the BBC. And then they unceremoniously dumped Tom Jones. Who does that? What did he do for you? And they were like, and Karma was a bitch, because the next series they did, it tanked. And ITV took it up and boom.
Yeah. And put him back.
And that man, for his age, man, I'm telling you, okay, obviously, I know it's all contrived and they stand up and sing and the band knows and everything, but the fact still remains, the man is in his 80s and his voice is coming out like he's still 20-something.
And also, the point of that is that just because he's in his 80s doesn't mean he can't hear music, tone, voice, all of that. Isn't that what the whole point is? That, people go on there, they sing their heart out, and you then get picked. Well, you're then listening for the tone and everything. He can do that. He can do that.
Exactly.
So what? Because he's in his 80s, he's got to go.
We don't even know why he did it. They just did it. I think the problem with BBC is tell them to rest and think, I am the mighty BBC and we do what we do. Sometimes they try to compete. So I think they were trying to compete with the other show. And that wasn't going to work because that is different. It's a bit like the Dallas and Dynasty thing.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. So you're paying your TV license. It comes out every quarter. You're not paying any attention to it because it will most probably upset you anyway if you start thinking about that. And it's going to make you mad. But you can't boycott the BBC because you're watching Match of the Day.
Well, yeah, but like I said, I probably won't be watching Match of the Day anymore because Gary Lineker's not on it. That's like
who's going to take his place?
I don't know. I think Gabby Roslin. They've recycled some other people there. I think Gabby Roslin is one that I know of. And I know there was that other lady that used to do the show on a Sunday. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't really taken it on board. And I was being facetious when I was saying about Match of the Day because I just thought that's part of your autopilot life, isn't it? So, but now I'm having this conversation with you. I'm thinking to myself, okay, do I really need to? But then again, do I want to be fighting? You have to quickly. But I've done some of the boycotts that I'm going to do, and I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm just mad. I'm just really mad with them, and I just feel they need a slap round the corner. And I think their board of trustees need looking at because that's another problem as well. When they've had some people on there who haven't genuinely been neutral. You had that.
For anybody who's out there watching, and those who are watching on catch up, Trisha, because Trisha always watches it on catch up when she gets in from school. This is Nike mad. She's mad. She's upset. She's not happy. She is distressed. Or any word that you can think of, she is annoyed. All of it by the BBC. But you're not the only person. There's many out there that are annoyed by the BBC. And what you were saying about over the years, I remember my dad's been gone for many, many, many years, but he used to sit and watch the BBC News. And I don't think he changed to ITV when that came along.
No.
And Channel 4 came along, and I know for damn sure he didn't watch the news on there either. It was always the BBC News.
Yeah.
With the Daily Telegraph. That I don't read newspapers anymore. Is that paper still as big as it was? Because it used to take up.
It depends on how you look. That's another paper I do not like. Any paper that is anti-Harry and Meghan, I ain't gonna like them. So,
well, like I said, this is 30 years ago. This is 30 years ago. Whether he would be doing it now is a different matter. But
to be fair,
it was a huge paper.
There. Yeah, it's a broad street. So you had the Telegraph and the Times, and then you had the Guardian and the Observer. So they're all still there. My friend still buys her Guardian on a Saturday, every Saturday, mostly without fail.
There's things that need changing, aren't there? So I know that they're looking into all of this with the BBC and TV licenses and stuff like that, but maybe they're not looking at that quick enough. Because or do we need to protest a bit more? Do we need to actually
get out? It depends on how you look at it, because I thought that it's always quite good to have like a public TV service. But the other thing as well is when they cancel the free TV license for the elderly. Why?
They're mean.
But yeah, probably it does need to be looked at, because the people coming behind us, to be honest, I don't think they're bothered. They don't care. Most of them, 9 times out of 10, like when they're talking at work, when they're all at work, I'm like, what are you talking about? And they say, oh yeah, it's really good, Nick, you should watch it. Like, where's it showing? And literally, 9 times out of 10, it's not, it's Netflix. What I'm saying, those youngsters are not looking at BBC out there like that.
No, no, they're not. But then, so are they then? Are they just paying for their license just because?
Well, they're youngsters, so I don't know if they pay for a license. Some of them live at home with their parents. Some of them, I don't know. I don't ask them that question. Maybe when I get in the office tomorrow, I'll do a straw poll and see. Do you guys all pay for TV license? Because it'll be very interesting to know. Because most of the things that they talk about is generally on Netflix, and what they're talking about, other than that is not on Netflix, are you ready? Are you ready for this to sell?
Go on.
Married at First Sight, Love Island.
Oh yeah.
All of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm not surprised. That goes on in my house. Yeah.
So
I haven't got enough time in my day to give myself a program that I've got to watch for a period of time on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's kind of hard work. When we were talking about Married at First Sight, there was one that I was like, oh, they can watch it, you'll like it. And to be honest, I did watch it on my iPad. But I got to a stage where I just thought, you know what, this is just a waste of my life, even if it's only on in the background.
But that's Channel 4 or 5 though, isn't it?
Yeah.
So those would still be on there even if we didn't have the BBC. It's a bit of a catch-22, because when I don't watch a lot on BBC, but when I do watch it, I get quite excited that there's no adverts. You know, that you can actually just watch something and there's no adverts.
Yeah.
Would I like to get rid of that? And then there are adverts, most probably, but I bet you they'd charge us for something somewhere along the line. We'd still be
100%. Yeah, because at the end of the day, regardless of the efficiency of it, that is still a big chunk of money that goes somewhere that they wouldn't want to lose. And
exactly.
To be honest, I think if the BBC started doing adverts, they would sell out. But look, it is as it is. I think really and truly what I've even just from talking to you about it, I realized my anger at the BBC is more towards their news channel, because I just think it is too opinionated, it's too biased. You saw it always where even like during the elections and the stuff that comes up, and and at the risk of repeating myself, going back to Gary Lineker again. You've got the other guy that does this, that used to do the Sunday show. I don't know if he still does it, but he used to come out with all sorts of things, and he was never censored or told he can't say that.
Okay.
So I've forgotten his name. You know him when you saw him.
It's the pick and choose.
It's the pick and choose. It's the pick and choose. It's the way you just randomly dismiss people, and then of course we all know about the cover-ups that they've done. So you know it just generally does not work as a model anymore.
So there you go, people. We didn't even finish early like we were supposed to.
It's still quite early. It's only 10 to 1.
So the BBC. So there's lots of different things there that are going on, and maybe people need to go and have a look at it and do a bit of a deep dive for themselves so that they can understand, because some of these things are quite subtle. Nadia could have gone without saying a word. and we would have just thought, oh, she didn't get another program, you know, she didn't get another series, you know, nobody would have thought anything more of that. But because she's spoken out, now people are starting to see, you know. So there's most probably other people who have gone along the way and have not said anything.
Yeah.
But should they have the right to then make all of those decisions? Should they? So what? So Gary Lineker needs to be, he said something, he made it quite clear that was his point of view, and now you've got to go. Now you've got to go. And it's like, why? Why have you got to go? Why have you got to go? Yeah. You know, and that whole that whole match of the day was with no presenters. Was hilarious. Just absolutely hilarious. I don't think they won that in the slightest.
They didn't. That's why they ended up. That's why they ended up bringing it back, because they didn't bargain on Michael Richards and Ian Wright and Alan Shearer saying no. They didn't bank on that, because not everybody can play for money. And I remember I did watch that interview with Gary Lineker. Actually, he said he was really moved because he didn't even when he told them, they said, "Oh well, we're not going on." And he's like, you know, you don't ask anybody to do that, because obviously that's money into their thing with Bob. And then again, the other thing as well, the flip side, you know, the little bit more of the critically thinking side again makes me think, well, was the BBC right to just have that one main person in that role for all those years?
But maybe yes, maybe no. But some things just kind of happen, don't they? You know, somebody then starts with that, and it might not be that actually the BBC thought that person was going to have that main role, but it then has just gone like that. It's evolved like that. You know, there's so where's free speech? I know it's written into the Constitution in the United States. Where's our free speech then? So we're not allowed to say things.
Is it not in the Doomsday? Oh no, it's not, because there've been all sorts of laws that.
Oh my God, it's not in the Doomsday Book or anything like that. My God, there was no free speech then. That was just going to be off with your head. Off with your head, hung, drawn, and quartered. Whatever you said, you're going to be killed. God. So it wasn't there. Where is it? And I'm not being facetious or anything like that. Is it written somewhere? Have I missed it? Have we been taught it somewhere? Do we have free speech? Are we allowed to speak and say how we feel without being...
Well, we used to be able to, but now you can't, because if you think about it, like, go back to like the student protests and stuff like that, or, you know, like, even just like I said, like innocuous things where people are fed up, or like where they would moon a policeman, or they would do all of those things now. But now people are getting arrested for things. People are being told they can't say this or they can't go there. And you're like, but why? And it's the minuscule reporting of these things as well that makes it so dangerous and insidious to me.
And they do that, don't they, so that it doesn't make it any worse, but also in case they do need to do some kind of legal situation there. So one of the things that I was just about to say was, you know, you've got this, what's his real name? This Bob Villain. Surely that can't be his name. But anyway, you know, you've got him. Now, he wasn't supposed to be on there. He was then on there. So all of the flags that were in the crowd, the Palestinian flags, they didn't bring those flags for him. They bought those flags because they wanted to bring those flags.
Yeah, exactly. And they were going to wave it anyway.
Exactly. So how is that, you know, maybe seeing the flags made him think, actually, I can say what I want to say, because there's people there who are going to back me. You know.
His name is Bob Belseb, according to Wikipedia.
Okay.
Oh, actually, it says in the movie Thunderbolts, the character known as Bob was actually Robert. Oh God, no. Bobby Belseb villains. Full name Bobby Belseb, otherwise known as Big Fat Red Guy, chronicles of Bob, the first villain in the show. So I think that might not even be the correct answer, but that's the first one that's come up.
Yeah. But like I said, because of what was being said, I actually thought they were talking about Bob Dylan. That shows where my head goes, because I just think people of that age, like Bob Geldof, Annie Lennox, they will say what it is that they want to say, and they have done.
Yeah.
And that's where my head went, and that's what I thought. And then and I've watched the video. And do you know what? Why can't you say what you want to say?
Because there are people. Okay, I think the show's gone on long enough to start going into little what people might consider to be conspiracy theories, but there are pockets of influence from the other side all around.
Yes, of course. Of course.
And I don't mean all around us like it out of a horror movie. What I mean is that they're where you wouldn't expect them to be. For example, in the BBC, in the government, friends of this, that, the Tea Party sector. It's all out there. I just try to ignore it because it just gives me a headache.
And then it just comes full circle back to in the BBC. See, they're the anchor. There's the upset in the BBC and in the government. So okay. If you watch it later on or you're watching us now, just tell us your thoughts. The BBC aren't going anywhere right now. And they'll be questioned as to whether they should have shown it, they shouldn't have shown it, whatever. And it, they'll still be on next week and next year and the year after, regardless of what they've then done. So maybe we need to be doing some kind of protest, because if we were in France, we'd be out on the streets.
Oh, they never could protest in France, don't they?
Yes, they do. We would be out on the streets by now, and we'd be saying no to the BBC. We're not giving you however much money we pay every year for the bloody license. Anyway, we're gonna close now. We've put the world to rights, or just the BBC, and it's time to go back to work. So that's why we're finishing.
Oh, yes.
Just let us know your thoughts. And also, just don't. I know it's really hot. However, we live in the UK, which means by next week we could have snow. This could all be gone. So just embrace it. Embrace it, because it won't be long where you're going to have your pajamas and your hoodie on when you go to bed. Unlike now, where you either sleep in naked
say something.
T-shirt. Yeah.
Can I just quickly say something?
Yeah.
So I saw a post. This is a nice something. So I saw a post on Instagram. I'm sure it was Instagram. It might have been TikTok. And it was a Gen X guy. And he did open the post like that. He says, "I'm calling all my Gen X people." So you know how when they report on the weather, they say it's the hottest day on record, this and that, blah, 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 blah. So apparently he's been around some people who've been saying they're bloody Gen X people. They keep coming with their summer of 76. Now, what he explained in that video, obviously I missed that by a year because I came here on holiday in 1977 for the Queen's Jubilee. We didn't come because of the Queen's Jubilee. I just happened to remember that it was the Queen's Jubilee, and we were on holiday for the whole of that summer. But the year before, in 76, apparently, where you had those extended high temperatures, and so yes, the temperatures were not as high as they were today, but they were extended, and apparently it went on from like early May right to the back end of September, early October. So this guy was saying that in his nan's garden, right, where it was so dry, and obviously because there was no water, forget your bloody hose pipe ban, there was no water to ban you from watering it, that the cracks were so wide that you could put your hand in a foot deep down.
Wow.
And so that is the difference. It's the fact that it was sustained. Because obviously we do get really hot days, but like I know that in 2017, I think it lasted about 3 weeks. And I remember that for many, many reasons. But yeah, this guy, when he broke it down like that, I thought, oh my God,
yeah,
that's crazy.
But and he's broken that down, and you can then kind of understand what went on. But that's not what's going to go on right now. This ain't staying forevermore. This is
exactly. No, it isn't. It isn't. But it's just also that thing of where they had to go, where they switched the water off, and then they had a standpipe at the end of the road. And at the end of the road, and they had to go and fetch water. And I'm like, oh my God, the people in the UK had to go and fetch water. I could segue into something different there with that going to fetch water, but I'll leave that. But yeah, so it was all of those things.
Exactly, and we have had that. And if you remember those, to be fair, I just remember it being really, really warm, and we were out playing outside. That's what I remember. I'm not looking at the garden and thinking, oh my God, it's as dry as anything, and we're never going to have a flower again. But just go with this for now. Just go with it, because it's not staying. It's not staying. Yeah. You know, next week, Nike's going to have a cardigan and a scarf on. So, do you know what I mean? Just go with it. Just go with it. It's glorious. It is glorious. Right. We will be back next week. Don't forget, the Real Talk show is on tonight. Starts at 7. Dee's got some really, really good guests on there. And we have also got next Thursday will be our community Zoom as well. So, see you all next week.
Bye.
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 If I can do this.
You can do it if you really want.